All right, welcome in today. We're going to take another look yet again at Iran and the Middle East buildup. We're going to look at both sides, what has been said in the last 24, 36 hours. I mean, the tensions continue to rise. This thing is a powder keg getting ready to cook off, it seems like. We'll look at the iron that has flowed into the region. I think up until right about now, the United States, it was not practical nor an opportune time for the United States to be able to conduct operations inside Iran. However, all those pieces of the puzzle seem to have come together. So we're right there on the edge, in my opinion. We'll dive into that and take a deeper look. But I've said it, and I'll continue to say it off the get-go. This will not be Operation Midnight Hammer 2.0. And there's a variety of reasons why that is the case. The first being, it seems like the message now is a regime change. That's the message that seems to be coming from the White House. Regime change with air power alone, I don't think it's going to happen. This is going to be sustained operations in order to achieve objectives, which aren't entirely clear at this point. Outside of Iran cannot have nuclear weapons, they got to reduce their ballistic missiles, they can't use proxy forces, and they got to stop killing their own people and oppressing people inside the country. So in order to do that with air power alone, I don't think it's practical again. So if the expectation, this is going to be Operation Midnight Hammer 2.0 and in and out, that's not going to be the case. So fence in for that. Now, let's jump in, because if you're like me, curious what's going on with the negotiations. And I think now it's kind of fair to say they've all but completely fallen apart or pushed aside by both parties. So first, jumping over to the Iranian parliament, this is never a great start when you have people burning the U.S. flag. Kind of sends a clear message of what they think about us and what they think about the United States. Granted, this is not the Ayatollah, but again, you can catch the sentiment here, I think. We won't watch the whole video, but they really get this thing going with some Death to America chants. Need some accelerant on that thing. But you got more people joining in here. We won't watch the entire video. You get the gist here, and obviously they get that thing going eventually. But that is the Iranian sentiment. Of note, when I talk about Midnight Hammer or even Operation Absolute Resolve, I think people may have gotten conditioned with Midnight Hammer being so surgical, Absolute Resolve being so surgical. You didn't see the Venezuelan parliament chanting Death to America. So doing sustained operations inside Iran, that's a completely different beast. It's a different country. It's a different culture. It's a different history. So it's not going to be, again, a one-for-one. Now, over to President Trump, just to get a taste of what he's been saying about this over the last couple of days as well.
It's the time for Iran to join us on a path that will complete what we're doing. And if they join us, that'll be great. If they don't join us, that'll be great too. But it'll be a very different path. They cannot continue to threaten the stability of the entire region, and they must make a deal. Or if that doesn't happen, I maybe can understand. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But bad things will happen.
So that's pretty clear when it comes to the president saying you can join us or not join us. And if you don't, bad things will happen. So we did see this early on in January with the United States, President Trump talking about having to go help the Iranian protesters to topple the regime. It seems like the sentiment there would have been, there's a lot of destabilization inside the country, so give it a little nudge and you topple the regime with not necessarily having to do much. It obviously didn't happen, and now we've had the four demands come out with no nuclear weapons, reducing ballistic missiles, cutting off their utilization of proxy forces in the region, and then stopping the oppression and the killing inside of Iran itself. I did have someone on social media send me a message, and I'm going to keep it kind of opaque because I do find the person credible. I've actually talked with the person, and they have family that is back in Iran, talking about the horrors that have gone on. And I mean, talking about, a dictatorship, a regime where these people are killed and then the families have to pay the price, double the price of the bullet that was used to kill their family members. Is pretty wild. So I can't imagine what the Iranian people have had to endure through this. So it's bad all around. However, I don't think this one is just going to be cut and dry and it ends with a nice pretty bow on it. This one's going to be nasty, and I don't want to downplay it, but again, when we look at some of the stuff coming out of Iran, this is one of the paramilitary forces releasing a video. So I mean, again, it's propaganda declaring their readiness for the joint war. Now, granted, I'm going to tone it down there a little bit as you kind of can watch this as it's playing out. Now, I mean, this appears to be maybe 50-ish soldiers, with a bunch of drones in a tunnel. Obviously, the production level is high, and we saw this when it came to ISIS being able to produce these high-quality videos. Yeah, I mean, it's a propaganda video. But I think the string to draw on here or to pull is, again, this is not like Venezuela. You have paramilitary forces both inside Iran, and this one is actually inside Iraq. So this thing is a powder keg. And as we have seen, the Iranians use proxy forces all throughout the region. So fully expect, as the Iranian regime faces an existential threat and it's time for survival, they're pulling out all the stops. All the tools in their tool bag are going to get thrown at the table here in order to counter the United States. And on that note, Yemen is reporting doing missile tests and cruise missile tests with drones in the region. So we haven't talked a whole lot about Operation Rough Rider. That's coming out more on the channel, and that kind of gotten lost in the news, right? People scoff or don't really pay much attention to Yemen, but there's so much traffic that is crucial to the world's economic trade that transits in and around Yemen that they can create a whole lot of pain. And this isn't even talking about the Strait of Hormuz, right? So again, expect this one to be challenging. Now, when it comes to conducting operations, as I mentioned, the United States really wasn't set up to conduct operations, in my opinion, until now or soon to be in the next couple of days. And that's because the F-22 had not made it to theater. The F-16s, Block 50, the suppression of enemy air defenses, the Wild Weasel mission, those guys had not made it in theater. We just put out a video yesterday where I kind of dove deep into those aspects. Again, not known to many, right? But the F-16s played a crucial role when it came to Operation Midnight Hammer, because they brought the kinetic capability to the SEED mission. Again, suppression of enemy air defenses. When those B-2s, F-22s, and F-35s crossed the line, they had F-16 Wild Weasels escorting them into the target area. And you didn't have that until this past few days when 24 F-16s from Spangdahlem and McIntyre International Guard Base were deployed. And these are Wild Weasel F-16s. Additionally, we have F-22s that are finally making it into theater. They bring the air dominance piece to this, and you're not going to cross the line without F-22s. But we just take a look around the buildup around the region. It is impressive. So this is a shot of the ramp at Sofia International Airport in Bulgaria with KC-135 sitting on the ramp. Interesting enough, there is a NOTAM that has been released for the 23rd and 24th that the airfield will be closed basically at night for military operations. And you don't normally do this unless major exercises are going on. Military operations going on with an international airport, joint use, is not uncommon. Shutting down an airport for military operations is something that's a little bit different, especially in a foreign country. And here's the ramp at Lodges on February 18th and 19th. Again, hosting 11 KC-46s with 12 F-16s, C-17s, and hundreds of U.S. personnel. So these ramps are starting to really stack up. Here's a wrinkle I did not see coming. So now there's talk of Diego Garcia, a little tiny island in the Indian Ocean that we typically operate B-2s out of, as well as some other assets. Now being said that we potentially can't use that for operations should we decide to go into Iran. Now this comes as the UK is dealing with a 100-year lease with the Mauritius Islands. It comes out of a 2019 court ruling in the international court saying that the UK has to give these islands back, but we've had Diego Garcia for so long, and it's been a critical node, and now it might be off the table in order to conduct operations for the United States. Granted, we saw the Operation Midnight Hammer, flying the B-2 from Missouri, no big deal. And I say that lightly, it was the second longest B-2 flight in B-2 history, or combat operations for B-2s. So doing that as a sustainment piece, again, presents a unique challenge. One and done, not such a big deal. Doing it night after night after night, that becomes a little bit more of a challenge. So this thing, again, just continues to escalate, and it seems we're marching closer and closer to a conflict with not much de-escalation. Now, one thing could be just a strong posturing of the United States, showing Iran, you got to come to the table or it's not going to work out well. And I mean, again, we're showing a really big stick to try and get the Iranians to come to the table and meet the demands. But we're going to see how this one plays out. Make sure if you're not a channel subscriber, you go ahead and subscribe, hit the notification button. We are pivoting our content here a little bit. So you might not always get notified, but if you do like this, you drop a comment. It helps get shown to more people and means I'll probably keep making more of this. So that being said, I'll see you next time.